All right. Welcome to episode 283 of Together BHA. It is myself and Adam today, and we will be discussing a historic fifth win in a row and fourth win in a row, because we need to talk about both the games that took place against Bournemouth midweek and in the Cup today. 5 wins in a row for the first time in our Premier League era. Adam, how are you feeling?
We're recording this. What? How long after full time against Newcastle? It's about 10 minutes, maybe less.
Barely, yeah.
I'm genuinely stressed. My heart rate is up. But what a weird game of football that was, and the fact that we walked away from that and won and are through to the next round, and we beat Bournemouth. We're sat what is essentially, I think, 3 points off of Champions League football at this particular moment in time in the Premier League. If you assume that 5th place is going to get it, God, how times have changed since 4 weeks ago. Less. When was the Forest game?
Sure, what? That's a great point.
1st of February. 1st of February, right? So, and it's now
a month, basically.
It's the 2nd of March. So it's been a month. In the space of a month, this fan base has gone from, we should probably get rid of our manager, to 5 wins in a row. Next round of the FA Cup, 3 points off of Champions League football. This is Brighton over Albion right here.
Yeah. What a change in every single aspect of what we're seeing on the pitch as well, right? Like, everything looks better, which is like such a stupid way of putting it, but like, and easy to say when we've won 5 in a row. Like yeah, of course it looks better, you insightful idiot, like Michael Owen-esque. But it like really had, like, everything has gotten better. Like, everything you wanted to see and hope that Hertz would be capable of turning around after Forest, he's just like kind of just went and did it the next game, and it's not stopped since. It's so strange. And to take those 2 wins away, like both at Bournemouth and Newcastle, right? Like 2 teams that are very much in that 5th place conversation with us, right? Like, these are 2 teams that we're 28, 29 games into the league, not 28 games into the league, I think, roughly. Like, they're not going away. Like, Newcastle are in 6th, Bournemouth are in 7th, Brighton are in 8th, and no points separate us between Bournemouth, and 1 point separates us from Newcastle. Like, so to come away from both of those, essentially European 6-pointers, put one of them out of the cup, get one of their best players banned for 3 games, have their best striker go off injured, and the other team we take 3 points from in the league. Like, what an unbelievable 7 days to turn around that. Like what an unbelievable 7 days that is as well. Like,
there's no team in the league that has won 3 games on the bounce at this particular moment in time. Not even Liverpool, because they drew against Villa. We are the only team that have won our last 3 Premier League games. So to hit form at this time is massive, absolutely massive. Just as you said, given how tight this table is, and you look at sides where they've started to drop their heads a little bit, like, what are Villa doing? Like, Villa
they look cooked, don't they? It's finally coming home.
Chefed. They really do. You've got Bournemouth, you've gone off the boil a little bit.
And the funniest thing with Villa, by the way, is they play Bruges now. And like, while Bruges are doing well, like, that is a team you'd expect them to squeak by at Villa Park. So, like, that's just more games that they're going to be getting. Like, even when they don't perhaps deserve to be where they are, they're going to squeak through on sheer quality, I think.
Yes.
Which is like just going to make them continue. Like, this form is not going to pick up. Like, they're going to keep limping through, which is great.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, this is ours for the taking. The importance, and we will go back obviously and talk about the games that we've just played, right, in a lot more depth than this. But just to rationalize where our heads are at the moment. God, if we beat Fulham in our next game, you start to get a little bit pumped, don't you? A little bit excited. Start to dream a bit. Do you?
I mean, we should be, but we're not going to, because that was the last game I went to was Forest. I haven't been able to make it to London since, and I'll be at Fulham. So I'm afraid.
Cancel your plans. Cancel your plans immediately. Yeah, and I tell you what, the other one that I'm looking at too in terms of fixtures, that Palace game, because Palace have come around in a big way. There's a chance we could get them in the cup as well, isn't there now?
You know it's going to be Forest away,
don't you? Oh, the revenge tour.
Oh, Jesus. It is a worry in my head that I'm going to sit. The draw takes place after the United Fulham game is on as we chat. There's no way we're going to be able to drag this out till the draw, because there's 11 minutes in and we ain't got 2 hours in us. But who knows what that draw is going to look like at the end of this. I mean, ideally, I think we're both probably aligned that we'd probably quite like Preston at home, wouldn't we? Like, that's the ideal draw. Like,
we 100% lose that, though, don't we? Like,
Old Trafford away then, like United away if they can beat Fulham.
Yeah, if that's a big if. But look, back to the games themselves. Obviously, we've seen players turn around in a big way. The importance, I mean, people saying that injuries have been used as an excuse, as a crutch. I'm sorry, but they were valid. Think of some of the players that we've had back that were out, that have come in and just made a monumental difference. Danny Welbeck was out for a period of time, and he's come back and just won us 2 games in a row. Like, you cannot overlook the importance of that. You cannot overlook the importance of, and Pierre's sort of stolen this from me, I feel like. Let's give him the credit. Jack Hinshelwood's performances over the last few games, especially in this Newcastle game, he has been incredible no matter where they've placed him on the pitch. Minte's like evolution as a player over the last few games has been gigantic too. There's been so many positive changes. And this is even where you've got games like Mitoma was pretty terrible against Newcastle. But we didn't have...
Looked tired though, didn't he?
He did. I mean, Jesus, João Pedro looked tired, but he still managed to put the pass through to make to get the game winner.
That was poor João Pedro. I mean, at one point, Ali McCoy's on the commentary here. I don't know who you had, but on the commentary here, he basically just said that they may as well just chuck a blanket around him and play around him at this point. Like, the poor guys.
He was a decoy at best.
Yeah, he really was.
Every time the ball came through to him, he basically just collapsed each time.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, and I thought Gruder looked really exciting as well. You start to see some of that class and that quality come through. It's just an exciting time. It's just an exciting time. I think we knew this is what we thought this side could be at the start of the season. When we signed all these players, we spent all this money, and we went, tell you what, this could be something quite special, couldn't it? And then we went on the run of games between 29th of November, draw, loss, draw, loss, draw, 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 draw. And we thought, okay, this is problematic. And now look, it's such a change,
It's mental, isn't it? And papered over a few cracks in January, and then they were literally obliterated with a sledgehammer, and it was just full crisis mode. And now we've won 5 in a row for the first time since being in the Prem. It's mental. It doesn't make any sense at all. That's football, I suppose. But I think for me, I really do think like Hertzler has really implemented changes to the style and system. Like, I'm not going to say it's exactly the same as his St. Pauli side, because it's not. But the similarities are very much there. Like, where he liked to have that like hybrid back five that Hunemeyer talked about a lot. In our podcast, like, I think you can identify both Baleba and Minte at different times transitioning into that back five and doing exactly that. Like, they are acting as a ball carrier. Like, Minte at right wing back is a little bit different to normal, but you can see like the types of things that are being changed in this side. And we've now become a side that are more dangerous on the counter attack and more dangerous without the ball. And I mean, I think that is probably, like, to go kind of like meta game level, like, is probably like the evolution of the game for the next few years, don't you think? Like, the time of possession, tick-attacker, passing it, like, even vertically, right? Like the time of that is kind of dying out a little bit. We are becoming a game that is more based on quick, rapid, fluid attacks in a countering fashion that, we see these things change and evolve all the time. By the time we get around to 2028, tick attacker will be back. But it feels like we've seen this change happen, and it seems that we are getting on the bus early, don't we? Because we're fully on it now.
We're in a post Pep era, and obviously incredible coach. It re-innovated the game, ushered in a new moment for football, a new era. But you could argue Mourinho did the same in his pomp too. That solid defensive style that grinds out wins. Look at him now. He's trying to get second in Turkey, and he's failed at pretty much every job he's had in recent memory. Pep
since United, ironically, where it was
right. Exactly, and obviously the Man City thing is invariably going to be temporary, but you've seen that the weaknesses in Pep's football when he doesn't have, well, technically the best player in the world on the pitch at all times, right? And yeah, you're right. This is why this club, and I don't know what, I'm assuming it's all based around the data that's famously talked about, but this is why you bring in a footballing mind like a De Zerbi, and then you bring in a footballing mind like a Hertzler. This is the club's edge that it needs to create, because it cannot historically be done by finances. How do you bring in someone that's pioneering things? The football's not quite ready for the football that De Zerbi was necessarily playing. And that's what surprised the Serie A. That's what surprised a lot of people. But now things are changing and things are coming around, as you say. You saw today against Newcastle. What did both sides really want to do?
They both wanted to play it that way.
Both wanted to play. Everyone just
Absolutely.
sat. Our press against their back line was monumental. The amount of pressure they were constantly put under. We could have had 2 goals just from them fucking up defensively.
They didn't like it either, did they?
No.
And they're usually very good at doing that to other teams. And I think they got 2 or 3 kicks into touch from Bart. But compared to they still tried to play it out. Dubravka was not, which is a breath of fresh air too, right? I think Bart just yeeted it, absolutely smashed it out.
Yeah.
Times. How many times have we said we hope that our goalkeeper and our back line can start doing that? How many times have we conceded stupid goals under De Zerbi where we refused to? I mean, most famously in Rome, right? Where we just would not get rid of a ball that should never have been a goal twice, and we conceded both times. It's a big change. We've gone. I feel like I've watched us go long on goal kicks more times in the last 6 games than I have in the last 6 years.
Yeah.
Happy. Well, in post Houghton, however long that's been. I can't remember the last time I've seen us go long so much. We've had 43.3% possession against Bournemouth at the Amex and 47.5% possession against Newcastle. We are once again winning games without the ball. That is continuing the streak of winning games without it and losing them with it. It is unbelievable how that is working out right now.
No one cares about possession anymore. No one really cares. If you've got the ball, great. For the most part, the proper chances you get are when you steal the ball off the opposition because they've pushed up too high. I mean, it's no mistake. Now we can look on hindsight of how teams that are the Forests of the league this year are playing their football. They're not alone in that. I mean, look at Arsenal, if you want to, broaden it that way too. This is a side that doesn't really want to play football and will just take advantage of set pieces. They do it in a slightly different way. Everyone's got their own spin on it. But watching, you could tell a lot of the atmosphere was taken out of St. James's Park after that Minte equaliser, because you just watched and the Newcastle players were just kind of chilling and the fans were getting on them and they were annoyed because when you're at home and you're, you know what they're like, they think that they're Newcastle, they think they're amazing. You should take the game to the opposition. And clearly they were told not to do that. And that is the downside of this style of football. When you play at home and you are deemed the bigger side, the superior side, your fan base doesn't like it when you just sit there and let the other side play at you.
What did you think of the slow starts, though? They're still scaring me half to death. Slow start against Bournemouth. I'm not sure. It was their number 10 almost scored earlier. Good save from Bart Verbruggen across goal. And then today, Isak essentially had 2 free attempts at the back post really early on. I don't like that. Like, that is becoming a common theme too, isn't it? Like, very slow starts that, like, after 5 minutes we wake up, but I'm pooing my pants every opening 5 lately. And then after that, we come into the game and we look well. Like, we look okay. Like, up until we conceded today, I thought we looked excellent against them. We were going, toe to toe with very similar styles, but like, we were coming out on top a lot of the time. I thought we'd done really well in that respect. What did you make of the penalty for Brighton against Bournemouth? And then I guess we'll just package deal them both. What did you make of the penalty at Newcastle for Isak?
Yeah, and I just watched it. I watched the Bournemouth one back, and I'm going to defer a lot to you on the Bournemouth game because it was during work and I was super busy and I had to watch it with sort of one eye. But the Bournemouth one was one of those ones where I don't. Honestly, if I'm trying to be as objective as I can be, I really hate that penalty rule where the attacker just runs and then just spams the ball somewhere and just basically the keeper doesn't really have an option and then ends up getting the player because the ball's just been punted off somewhere. It's a penalty. I just don't really like that happening if it happens to us. I'm glad we got it, obviously. And that helped. I do want to go back to the previous point though, like the slow starts. Yeah, it is painful, but the last 2 FA Cup games, right? Newcastle and Chelsea, we both conceded the first goal, the Verbruggen own goal, 5 minutes in against Chelsea, the Isak penalty, 22 minutes into this game. And then we've been able to come back and make stuff happen. And that's the difference. That we weren't doing that. We did that at the start of the season, if you remember. We've been slow starters this whole season, but we could come back into games and then get a win, get a draw. Then we went through a period of time where we didn't have that in us. And we would just concede early and then not score. And now we're back into a position where we can actually do it. It's a big mentality shift. It's a mentality shift. It's the only way I can explain it, really.
No, absolutely.
Isak penalty.
Yes.
I think it was a penalty. I think it was a penalty.
Well, the foul wasn't on Isak, was it? But I'm just thinking he took it. And that was in pen as well.
Was it on? Who was it on? Livramento? It was.
I think it was on Livramento. Yeah.
Minte, a bit foolish.
It's a classic right winger tackle, though, isn't it? Like in the box, like it's just a bit of naivety. Like it's inevitable that you're going to, if you're going to have a lad like Yankuba Minte play right wing back at times as a hybrid, like you're going to, at least in the first year or two, going to see some wayward tackles go in. And it was just a bit of naivety and stupid decision making, wasn't it? I mean, we've seen it from Baleba every now and again. Lucky not to have been sent off today as well, wasn't he? So these young players, like, you kind of probably have to take it on the chin when we concede these things. And obviously, in hindsight, we now know it was a happy ending and Minte was integral to the comeback. So it always makes it feel a bit better.
I mean, I knew that something was going to happen because the commentators, like 2 minutes before, talked about Minte has been really doing some stuff over the last few games defensively, and it's been really impressive. And then the other co-commentator was like, Brighton, I feel like I've sort of had the better play here for the last 10, 15 minutes. I was like, oh, of course, something's going to happen here. But, you know, his defensive work has been excellent. But as you say, you sort of expect these types of things when you put a guy his age, his experience in. The fact that, as you say, he can come back and run up the other end of the pitch and score against his former club after giving away a penalty shows really, really good, strong mentalities, isn't it? Again, I keep using that word. Yeah. This team has got the mentality it's showing. Van Hecker was an absolute defensive stalwart today.
Unbelievable.
So good. And the same, you see so much. We didn't have passion in this team for a good few weeks. There was no passion. There's a lot of passion in this team now. Diego Gomez is a player that you can tell there's passion there. The guy wants the ball, wants to be first to the ball. We can talk about him and his start against Bournemouth too, right?
We will, yeah.
All across the pitch, you're seeing it. And there's something special brewing here. And I don't know, man. We've got more in reserve, because was O'Reilly just not even picked in the squad today?
Not even in the squad, no.
He's not injured, just wasn't in the squad.
Yep.
And we've still got, I mean, Iari didn't get any game time today. He was a guy who at the start of the season, for large parts of the season, was one of our better players.
Yeah.
I thought also, I know we're just all over the place at this point. This is all on me.
No, this is classic 2 games in a week podcasting here.
And straight off the back of a game too, isn't it?
And 2 wins on the bounce of a 5 win on the bounce run. It's going to be carnage. It's lucky there's only 2 of us today.
I thought when Matt Sweefer came on, I think we all went, oh boy. 80 minutes in, lobbed it right back, then left back.
Yep.
Okay. First touch in the game, misplaced his pass. After that,
and by the way, it doesn't matter whether it's Weaver or Iari or Gomez. You bring on a centre midfielder for Baleba on 80 minutes, and I am worried.
I'm worried. Yeah, agree.
Because because it's so important to our area of play that, like, how many times have we seen the midfielder? I mean, you were there when Weaver came off injured after 70 minutes, and we immediately, within seconds, conceded because he was that midfielder for the day. Right? Yep. Like, it's just So yeah, you see Baleba come off, and thank God he did as well, because he was going to be sent off otherwise. And knowing Tariq and what happened next, thank God. But like, yeah, he comes off, and Weaver comes on, and Hinchelwood's jigging around, and you're just like, oh boy, like this is just screaming defensive frailty here.
You just, no one's going to know who to mark where, and of course, it nearly happened, right? Well, it essentially did, but outside of that, I thought Weaver was faultless after that point. He was
phenomenal,
really, really good. And this is a team where obviously we saw Solly come back on. Solly looked good. This is a team where you've got, in an ideal world, Joel Veltman playing at right back, Ferdi Kadioglu playing at left back. In my opinion, potentially, just given Estupinian's, he was shockingly bad. Estupinian's form at the moment, I don't really see a weakness in that team. That's a strong team.
Yeah, there isn't one at the moment. That front 4, by the way, we talked about it last week, that it seems to have everything, and everyone seems to cover everyone else's weaknesses. I mean, at this point, like, bar an injury, I don't see any way that you change that front 4, do you? Like, because we've got a full week off now. So, like, fatigue isn't we don't have another midweek. Like, because if there was, then obviously you see Welbeck come in, you see maybe a Dinger get a run out on that left-hand side, right? Like, Solly March get 45 minutes, Minte get 45, like, standard squad rotation stuff. They have a full week off now. They don't play again until Saturday, and they're at home, so no travel or any bullshit like that. Like, I think for me, like, that's front 4 remains I think that squad remains unchanged, really. Like, you don't touch it. Like, and Stephen in the chat said it 5-game win run, basically 4.5 without Lewis Dunk. Not saying Lewis is bad, but our performances look more solid. There's no way on a 5-game win streak you bring anyone in, right? Like, that doesn't matter whether you're club captain or anyone. Like,
I want no bad vibes here. I don't want to talk about Lewis Dunk has been a legend for this club. No bad vibes.
But you don't change the team, right? Like, it stays pretty much as is.
No, we said this last time, and I'm going to sit down after this, and I'm going to spend a couple hours rolling out some dough and baking a nice humble pie that I'm going to consume in one sitting over Adam Webster, because Adam Webster's been fucking excellent. Excellent. Him and Van Hecker look our best central defensive pairing over the last few weeks that I've seen since Van Hecker and Dunk were really playing top tier stuff months ago.
That first season under De Zerbi levels.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we've always said it about Webster, where he is an excellent centre half in this division when he gets a run of games, because he's always rusty to start with. What's happened with him over the years, I mean, you know it as much as I do. He gets 2 or 3 games for necessity. He makes a couple of mistakes. Then he gets injured again. He's never been able to come in. And yet this time he comes in, and for the first time ever watching Adam Webster, he hasn't needed a single moment to get any rust out. He's just been immediately what Adam Webster's game 7 is like. But like immediately, like he's literally, I think that's the biggest thing. Like he hasn't got any of that like ring rust that you expect from Adam Webster. Like he's came on without any of it, and look how well he's done. And Stephen in the chat saying he's embraced the captain's role as well. Hasn't he just? Like how together does that back line look? Like it looks 5 times more solid than it has in a while. And I like there has to be some organizational level there post Forest that's been going on that's helping them all come together. And Webster as captain is probably playing a big role in that, isn't he? Like he's got to be.
Hear me out on this, and I think this is an important aspect of what you've just described. I think I could name nearly 8 to 10 Brighton players I think would be good captains.
Yep. Fair.
How many sides can you say that about? Because, and we've seen this, right? Adam Webster, Van Hecker,
Lewis
Dunk, Pedro, Welbeck,
yep,
Veltman.
Yep.
That's 6. I mark my words, Jack Hinchell will be Brighton captain one day. I think you could probably, when he's fit, you could argue that just purely from experience, you would slot Milner in there.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't hate this is one like they did a little bit with Messi in Argentina and Barcelona. I wouldn't hate Matoma, some of the mentality he's shown, the leadership he's shown off the pitch as well. There are so many players that can.
I think you're probably 12 months away from saying Ruta too, by the way.
Oh, I mean, he is that talisman, right? He is that fan favorite. There's something special here, but there's so many players that have been excellent and playing at the top of their game, and it's meant that even when they've not been that great, and you could argue Mitoma, Baleba, not particularly good today, made up elsewhere by the performances of other players.
Yeah.
A month or so ago, literally a month ago, you did not see that. When those players weren't playing the top of their games, everything else fell apart.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I mean, even when we're 1-0 up, like we're creating chances too. Like we've talked about this like ad nauseum in that November-December run, like how awful chance creation was. Like, but we are, I mean, before Bournemouth equalized on the midweek, like Mitoma hit the post with that like weird volley.
Yeah.
Like it was just unfortunate for him, I think, like just slightly missed time. Like, but like we were creating chances where we could have been 2 or 3-0 up against Bournemouth, and they did really well. And I mean, if we're keeping good vibes only, that Kluivert goal was absolutely disgusting, wasn't it? Like, there's not much you can do other than just go, yeah, fair enough. Let's go back to the centre circle and kick off them boys.
Yeah, this is one of those ones. Yeah, you just go, all right, mate, sure thing. Yeah, appreciate that one. The fact that it's one of those ones where when you win it, you can also look back and go, credit to you, mate. We walked away with the points. Wonderful. So now we can honestly say, yeah, that was probably a goal of the season contender. Yeah, if we'd have lost, then we'd have said, it's fucking lucky, wasn't it? But that's a player who's been player of the season contender. You could argue Kluivert.
He's not far off, is he? He's not far off. Big slew of changes, both games, and we've had to rely on that bench a lot over the last about 220 minutes or whatever it's been like of football now. We've had Welbeck coming off the bench regularly. Ayari came off the bench. Weaver, we've had March cameos twice already now as well. We've had Gruder come on as well. I want to talk about him a little bit coming from today. But the depth is back as well, isn't it? Like, how important is that? Like, we've got players that can come off. I mean, I remember, 60 days ago, we were putting benches out there where like the missus would look to me and go, I don't know 6 of these people. And I would go, me either. and I'm supposed to be a hardcore fan, and I don't know any of these bastards. They're all 16-year-olds. Like, and now look, like the quality on the depth on the bench is absolutely mental. And transition to what I was intending to say, the match winner came off the bench twice, was assisted by a sub twice. And of course it's Danny Welbeck, isn't it? Like, what a season he's having.
I don't know what else I can say about Danny Welbeck that hasn't already been said. And he's finally getting the credit he deserves also from neutrals.
Yeah.
What you saw also at the end of this Newcastle game is anytime the ball was bobbing around and we punted the ball out and we got it back, the only player I really wanted the ball to land at his feet was Danny Welbeck, because I knew that he would control it. He would be smart about it. He would find someone. He wouldn't do anything silly. And every time he got the ball, he did that. His level of experience, his ability to finish. I also don't even understand his finish. It was a really weird one. And then the one against Bournemouth felt like it was physically impossible as well. Where like, I thought it was didn't he hit it like with the outside of his right foot, but then it curved left? I don't even understand what went on with it.
Yeah, and I mean, for a while there, I was assuming it was going wide.
It was wide. It was wide. I think we're in an alternate reality.
Yeah, he kind of, I'm just watching it back now. He just kind of like leant sideways and just because he was falling down as he hit it. I love this new Premier League ball, by the way. It's so nostalgic. But he kind of clips it with like his heel of his left foot, like to just dink it into that bottom corner. But like I'm watching it and I still don't quite know how it didn't go wide. Like it just slowly cruises on like a weird, just like straight run onto the post, and that's it. Goal.
It was the ghost. It was the ghost of Pele that powered that into the bottom corner, looking down on his prodigal son of Danny Welbeck. It was he's so good when he's available, when he's fit. He's just such a difference maker. How many goals he scored this season?
7 in the league. 9 is his top.
He's got to get double figures, isn't he?
He gets 2 or 3 more in any competition. I think 11 is his most. So, because for the United, he got 2 sets of 9 for United in the early 2010s, and he got a goal or 2 in the cups there as well, like in Europe and stuff. So he's 2 away from tying his Premier League record, 3 away from being his all-time record in the Prem alone. I think that's probably where you want to measure it to, because when you take in those years into account, he's also having European Cup ties, and like he's 10 more games than like he's going to be playing for us. So like just keeping it Premier League only, 9 is his record, which is crazy. He's never had a double figure season, right? Like, but he's 3 away. Barring injury, you feel like he's gonna get very close, isn't he?
Barring injury is just such a massive asterisk. It's got 3 asterisks next to it. I know it's so cliche to say it, but the quality he brings for those around him as well. And I really such prefer João Pedro sitting behind Danny Welbeck. He's done obviously a great job in certain games as the number 9. He obviously had to start there today against Newcastle. By his ability to pick out a pass, he did this against Bournemouth. That opportunity you mentioned from Matoma that hit the post was a wonderful little pass out from João Pedro to find Lamptey. Yep. His vision is really, really, really good, João Pedro. And his creation of play is so important. Danny Welbeck is so big for this team, and we miss him so much when we don't have him. When he was out and we had to try and put Evan Ferguson in there, the drop-off was so big. It was so big. I think the club, honestly, but based on what we're seeing, the club were like, you know what? It's better just to not bother trying to replace him with those players. Let's just lob João Pedro up there and do it the other way, because they were a shadow of what he's able to do for the team.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. And I mean, when you look at the move that Evan Ferguson's made, right? He's played 70 minutes of football since he got loaned out.
What a weird career.
Across all games, 70 minutes, 7-0. They played Leicester without a recognised striker.
Yeah, I mean,
You
to be
can't get
honest,
games there.
anyone can play Leicester without a recognised striker, couldn't they? For the most part, apart from us, I guess.
Apart from us, yeah,
apart
that's
from
the
us,
that does seem to be it. But I mean, the win against Bournemouth was massive, right? Like we rode our luck a little bit, but
yeah.
getting the win, massive in the league as well. Like Pedro, I thought played really well in that game. Minte obviously played very well. I just thought the whole team basically went toe to toe with Bournemouth in the almost the exact same style, and we had, which is so weird for Brighton, we had the Premier League experience on the bench to bring on and make the difference in a game that was very evenly matched, didn't we? Like, and that's crazy. Like, that's a credit to the squad building. Again, like we've done it. Like, it's superb. And then when you look at the Newcastle game, really not much different, right? Like, they're bringing on Bruno Guimaraes, who is like half fit, half not. They're bringing on Willock. They're bringing on Jacob Murphy. They're bringing on Matt Target. They're bringing on Callum Wilson. Unfortunately, it sounds really shit, but like they're players that are championship players. Like they are players that got brought in the championship and have stayed around ever since because they work very, very hard. Like they are good players who work hard. But when you look at the other side and you look at the players that Brighton brought on, you've got real class. Diego Gomez, Welbeck, Weaver, March, Gruder, who, he's only young, but like what a difference he made, because that winner came from Brohan Gruder. Like, I don't know anybody else who was watching it, but like that goal doesn't happen if Gruder doesn't do what he did. We were perfectly happy to sit back at that point as that ball went spraying out back to that goalie. We were absolutely done. We were not moving. And it was only Gruder who decided to just press on his own for no reason at all. And his actions directly led to them shitting their pants because they didn't expect that. And it just threw them off just that little bit. And about 6 touches later, Welbeck was through on goal, wildly alone, by the way. And what an excellent finish again. Solly March, the assist.
Yeah.
Can't ask for more than that, can you? Like, Solly back in. Excellent pass. Welb's unbelievable finish yet again.
And this is what's nuts. We said this. I'm just watching the Daniel Welbeck Bournemouth goal. I still can't get my head around it. We said this against Chelsea. Even we looked at the benches, and we said we have a stronger bench than Chelsea. We had a stronger bench than Bournemouth. We had a stronger bench, barring Bruno Guimaraes, than Newcastle. This isn't fake. Like, I know we get to look at our players with rose-tinted glasses on, right? Because we look at the backgrounds of them. We've seen them play in games that neutrals don't watch them, and we see the upside that they have.
Yep.
But these are truly some strong players. The fact that Matt O'Reilly wasn't in the squad. Could you imagine saying that at the end of De Zerbi's reign? De Zerbi would have sold a kidney for Matt O'Reilly.
Yeah.
Like, he would have done anything to get him. He would have never dropped him. He would have played 90 minutes every single game. And now
he'd have driven Billy Gilmore to Naples himself if it meant Matt O'Reilly got to play.
Yeah.
Like, he literally, like, he would never, like, it would have been constant. Yeah, you're right.
So it's now we've got these riches that we're in some ways being spoiled by, but as you say, like we spent a lot of money. This is what you hoped for and expected. I tell you what, if this 31-year-old, now 32-year-old manager that we signed isn't a complete idiot, the players are there. Like, the depth issue has gone away now. The depth issue has gone away after all the money we spent. Then, of course, what happened? Started off well. Everyone got injured. The doctors at the training ground are smashing up players' legs. Like, we're digging holes on the training pitch so they all fall down and break their ankles. And of course, you suddenly go, well, hold on, what's gone wrong here? Now, look, oh, wait, we get players back from injury. The managers found the Premier League out a little bit more. Suddenly, we've got a team. We've got a side on our hands.
Big time. Any standouts you want to talk about? Any big names? We've covered Gomez. We've covered Van Hecker a little bit. Webster, Welbs, Gruder's play, Weaver, Gomez, Ruta. Good vibes only, right? So we probably won't touch on Purvis for a bit. His pass accuracy, boys. Like it's
Oh
just
my god,
it's killing me. It's killing me. I love him, but like he's struggling a bit on the ball at the minute, isn't he? Like the passing, the forward passing. Like you can obviously pass backwards, but like his forward passing just not great.
I don't really understand what has happened to him lately, but because this is not in isolation. We talked about Purvis about this weeks and before he got injured, right? We were kind of talking about, well, hold on, he looks really weird in possession. He's running around, doesn't look like he's comfortable on the ball. He's not got his pass selection picked out, his defensive liability. We were saying that earlier in the season. All right, goes out with injury. Let's get him back and let's find the player that we had. Let's find the player that we had last year that was excellent, one of the best left backs in the league at the start of the season. But yeah, he's not there. You can only hope that it's still injury based, comfort with getting back up to speed with everything. But look, we find a way. Go back to the squad depth. Screw it. Matt Sweefer, left back. Why not? Done.
How do you think Cashin's feeling, by the way? Gets signed when we're at an all-time low centre half wise, and he watches the two centre halves in there stay fit and also put in literal record-setting performance since he walked through the door. He's got to be like, I'm happy to be here, boys, but fuck me, like
yeah, right. I thought I was going to be playing a little more than this.
Yeah.
I mean, not a bad bench to be sat on, though, isn't it? Just to be watching some of this form. You know what's silly as well, right? And we've highlighted this. You talked about the slow starts. We've been guilty of, we've created lots of chances, but my word, how many shots were blocked today? How many extra touches were taken? João Pedro was one of them where you just, please hit it first time.
Yeah.
You've got some questionable performances by some of your better players. This has not been faultless. And I think that's the impressive thing.
21 shots today and 10 were blocked. Almost 50%.
Yeah, I mean, credit to Cher and Dan Burn or whatever, but I don't know how Cher didn't get 18 yellow cards. I don't understand what the ref. Let's not talk about the ref, but so inconsistent.
Let's at least say one thing: the red card was absolutely a red card. Yeah, we agree. Like Anthony Gordon was rightfully sent off.
He punched him in the head. I don't know what other card it's going to be.
And Tarek Lamptey's foul was absolutely a yellow card foul. So he really deserved to go off for 2 yards.
He knew. He was bollocks.
So ultimately, they actually got pretty much everything right today. Like the big decisions right. It was a penalty for Newcastle. That's absolutely correct. But I think the only thing that you could probably say they got wrong was like, I'm not even sure they got wrong, but like they were very lenient on Baleba not getting a second yellow, right? Like I think that's probably the only thing I would comment on. And that handball where at the other end of the pitch, I don't know if that's not given with the crowd on his back.
His hand was out and it hit his hand. I don't understand how it's not handball based on the rules that we understand. The other really egregious one for me was, I think it was Tonali was pulling back when we got the ball back and we were going to run up the other end of the pitch at an important point in the game. And it was a professional foul, like the definition of a professional foul. And the rest like, yeah, whatever, just free kick. No, that is a yellow card. That's so basic yellow card. I don't understand how it wasn't there. But we don't need to fret about refereeing decisions because we won and it doesn't matter. And we know the referees are pathetic and we know it's all stupid. Having said that, all it took was millions of pounds of technology and 45 individuals to see an offside that we all saw with our open eyes.
Took a lot longer than Europe, though, semi-automated, didn't it? But it also took a lot less time than it would have took usually. I think it was 8 minutes yesterday, wasn't it? In that game. I
mean, that's the semi being the word doing the heavy lifting versus automatic. I feel like I don't know what they're looking at, to be honest with you. I don't get it. I really don't get it.
But I think it was 8 minutes it took yesterday to get an offside called in the Bournemouth Wolves game because they forgot to turn on semi-automated. Like, if that doesn't sum it up, or like, it's just, I mean, never forget, Aston Villa are only in this division because they forgot to turn on goal line technology on the final day of the season, remember? Like, don't ever. I'll never forget that. The only
Never
reason
forget.
Villa are where they are is because they
Never forget.
because they would have been down that day if they hadn't have got that. Like, that is crazy to me. But it is what it is. I think semi-automated is the way to go. It looks so much better. It works so much better. I'd be more than happy to wait 90 seconds knowing a machine is doing it than wait 8 minutes knowing that Lee Mason is doing it. Would you?
There's a lot of things I'd take over Lee Mason manually to it. Yeah, I would rather have anything. I'd have a group of chimpanzees sat in a room throwing
pressing buttons
poop at a diagram that says yes or no, and I would still prefer that as the method of getting there. So yeah,
you're not wrong. Fulham next. They're 1-0 up currently as we speak at halftime at Old Trafford, unsurprisingly, which is quite funny. And they beat Wolves away from home. They've got a couple of away games all back to back here, right? They've had Wolves away, United away, and us away. But they're in a bit of form themselves. Beat Newcastle, beat Wigan in the Cup, beat Forest at home, lost to Palace randomly at home, beat Wolves, are probably about to beat United, and then come down to the Amex. They are a cursed team.
I hate them.
Of Albion in the Premier League. What a huge team. We can get a result there, though, eh?
This is
9th, by the way, 1 point behind us.
Yeah, every game now is just of real importance, because you can then start to argue that you have to pick up points against the big boys because it's almost set in stone how it's going to end at the top of the table now. So it's like, let's capitalize on some top teams that maybe aren't putting in 100% effort. The bottom's pretty much figured out. So then you think, well, we've got to beat the lower end teams. They already know their fate. And then the middle, we're like, well, I've got to beat the teams in the middle because they're the ones closest to us and we're competing with them for Europe. But this one, if you can walk away and in the space of 2 weeks beat Fulham, Bournemouth, Newcastle, all of the sides that are basically around you. I know Newcastle games in the FA Cup. I'm still counting it.
Well, I mean, we should. Mentality again. What you said, like mentality. So yeah, I agree.
That would be, I mean, it would be such a monumental win. I've got no idea how to feel about any of these games anymore, because I had bad feelings about Newcastle. Going to Newcastle in the FA Cup, Isak is playing. We robbed them earlier on in the season. Robbed them.
We did. Gordon and Isak were shocked. Well, we're great until they had to score.
Tried to finish, yeah. And any other day we would have lost that game, and we won it. And I tell you what, similar sort of echoes from that game. Welbeck goal and Verbruggen in the dying embers of the game catching a shot or a cross in and then fall into his knees and players patting him on the head because they know the final whistle's going to blow. We've done that twice at St James's Park this year now, and it's a nice feeling to have those things happen. But the Fulham game is going to be very, very tricky. What's our overall record against Fulham? Do we know that? Here, let me see. See if I can pull that up.
In the Premier League, or just in general?
I mean, let's say
because we did really well against them in the Championship. If you remember, we had a good run against Fulham for quite a while, and then we get promoted to the Premier League, and it all goes absolutely bonkers.
Here we go. I've got them in here. All right. So working backwards. So the last game, we lost 3-1 at theirs this season. We lost 3-0 at theirs last season. 1-1 at the Amex. Lost 1-0 at the Amex the previous season. Lost 2-1 at Craven Cottage. Drew 0-0. Drew 0-0. It was a friendly in 2019 that we lost. They beat us 4-2 at Craven Cottage in 2019. 2-2 in 2018 at the Amex. We have not beaten them. We have not beaten Fulham anywhere on planet Earth since 2017 in the Championship. And 2016, where we beat them home and away, as you say.
Yeah, we had a good run. I remember, because it was, and we beat them in 2015 as well, because that was the opening of the season at Fulham. We beat them there as well.
Beat them 3 times in a row, and then 5 games in a row. We beat them back in the Championship years. One of them was a 5-0 win. I'll give you
That was my last game before I came to the States. The
Can-
one against Fulham at Fulham.
Can you name the goal scorers?
Which ones?
Fight in the 5-0 against Fulham in 2016.
Hemed? Dunk?
No.
I know Dunky scored that other one, like where we basically kicked off at 1-1 and we literally immediately went down there and scored, and it was like insane. Murray, was Murray there yet?
No, don't believe. I'm going to give him to you.
I'm just going to go through the team otherwise. Stevens, Kyle,
Hemed hat trick.
Oh, there you go. Well, I got 3 in one go.
You did, but I'm not counting it like that. Bruno and Knockout, 87th minute.
Oh, Knocky.
Of course it was. Yeah, it was Lewis Dunk still playing, Stockdale in goal, Rossini left back. Kazenga Lualua coming on as a sub. Oh.
Legend.
Oh.
Absolute legend. All right. Fulham next. Unbelievable week of football. We're doing great. Draw to come. Who do you want?
What are the options? What are the options?
We've got the options are currently we've obviously got this game ongoing and Forest Ipswich tomorrow. So you got Preston, Villa, Palace, Bournemouth, Man City, at Fulham. We'll say Fulham right now, and then one of Forest or Ipswich.
I don't know why I'm surprised, but I'm like, that's not many teams left, is there? But yeah, forget that we're quite far in.
The cup is anyone's, though, isn't it? Looking at that list, like the cup is anybody's. There's no Liverpool. There's no Arsenal. City are not what they used to be. Like this cup is anybody's for the taking.
Now Liverpool are out of it. There's no Liverpool, no one. Even if Arsenal were in it, I don't know if you'd even be that.
No.
Who do we want? I mean, I'll tell you who I don't want. I don't want Forest. I don't really want City. We're just about to play them. They seem like they're finding a little bit of something again, maybe. I don't really want to play Bournemouth because how many times can lightning strike? We've beaten them twice this year and they've been incredible this year. Can we do it a third time? I don't know. I don't want to see Palace. I don't want to see Fulham. I really hate Villa, even if they're in bad form. I don't want to face any of them. None. Give us a bye. Can we get a bye? Give me Preston. That's it. Nothing else. Anything but Preston, and I'm out.
Preston or Ipswich, I suppose. Like that'd be the good ones. Preston or Ipswich, I'll take.
Yeah, for some reason, my mind goes back to the Ipswich game at the Amex. That was just incredibly frustrating. But we've got the quality to see them out, and we
very different team
them.
now. They're say the word again, say the word, Bart, but like mentality again, like has changed dramatically at Ipswich from that first game to the second to now.
Kieran McKenna. What could have been? I mean, it's hard to critique him considering he's managing
such a wildly different situation.
Literal farmers, tractor boys. So it's hard to say what he would have done for us. But tell you what, you wouldn't swap now, would you?
No, I don't think anyone in their right mind would dare.
Yeah, would anyone swap? Would anyone swap right now, McKenna? If you asked this question 4 weeks ago, what percentage?
Overwhelming. We'd have both said yes.
I'd have swapped him for a ham sandwich 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, I'd have swapped him for like Twitch plays Brighton manager.
Yeah, God, this is why we do a podcast and not anything with any skill needed.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we're in a good spot. We will be back next week to just discuss the one game, so there will be slightly more coherence, mostly kind of, and structure to the thing.
It's boring though.
Fulham. Yeah, I know. We'll be talking Fulham, 3:00 kickoff on a Saturday. Well, hey, absolutely love that for everybody. I will be there, so no doubt the win streak is going to come crashing down in depressing fashion. But we'll hope, like, please, like, I just want to see us win a game again. It's been so long.
One note I do want to add before we peace out. I'm jealous, but also want to give credit and kudos to the away fans at Newcastle today. Going on that trip all the way up there is effort, expense. You obviously got a free pie and a beer. What a generous offer from the club.
Really is though, really, like, genuinely is. They didn't have to. If they had never done that, no one would have said a word, by the way. No one would have even thought about saying it. So, like,
I suppose. If you're at Man United, they take your pie and pint from you to give it to the staff. But credit to those fans. And God, I can't imagine the trip back. That must be an impeccable trip back, despite the length of time it's going to take. The vibes would be off the charts.
A lot of them are staying over. That was what, like, because we've never been to St James's Park before, and it's well up on the list, but like, it just logistically we couldn't have done it in the time frame that we had to organize it, like, because we'd have had to get Brit off work and all the fun stuff, get a hotel and stuff, because it's just it's too far away for us to do it all in one day, let alone people who are 3 hours south of us, right? Like, so it's
Scotland. It's just Scotland.
Yeah, it is. I know a bunch of them got really good deals on flights. They were really cheap, London to Newcastle, when the draw happened. And then, of course, they got rise to the sky. But like, a lot of people got on them early and got them for really cheap. So that's really helpful. Makes the hotel a lot cheaper when you're staying over as well. But it's a hell of a trip, especially on a Sunday. Like, and I was saying during the game, like, is there a more agonizing moment in football than when your team is drawing in extra time with 10 minutes to go? Like, it really is next goal wins, and you know it. And like, it's just, I would rather lose the lottery of penalties than risk seeing those bastards score and like the disappointment of having plowed 2 hours into this. Like, I don't know if there's many worse feelings of dread in football than that last 10 minutes of extra time for me.
Well, the shift in emotion, even as a person just watching it thousands of miles away on the TV screen, between Gordon getting sent off and we're like, hold on, okay, this could be it. And then Lamptey gets sent off and they swing a fucking free kick in and it goes in. It's just like deflating the Hindenburg, like that level of sad disappointment shifting from hope. And you can imagine that journey the fans went on of between those, like that 2 minute span.
8 minutes.
We're going to win it. We're going to win it. And then oh boy.
8 minutes between the sending off. So yeah, it really was like, just
all's well that ends well. And Gordon's going to miss the final for them. What an idiot. I don't care, but what an idiot.
Just one insane moment of just total head loss for one of their best players, which, given the Ronas, is quite funny. But like, it's just
oh no,
unbelievable. Like, what's he like? You are alongside Isak, like their talisman. Like, you need to be available in that cup final. You need to be there. Like,
they'll be toothless.
I really hope the FA don't do that bullshit of like, well, we're going to modify this and like find a way to let him play, because it's absolutely a straight red card.
They won't, but also the only position Newcastle have sufficient cover for, at least I think, is that they'll just lob Harvey Barnes in there.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's not that massive a drop off. If it was Isak, if it was Tonali, if it was Bruno Guimaraes, I'd be like, oh boy, that's going to be tricky for you. But I think
wasn't on the bench today though. Is he fit?
Harvey Barnes.
Yeah.
If he isn't, then they are truly bugged.
Jacob Murphy instead. There's the drop off.
God, he's bad.
Scores a lot of goals in the Championship though, don't he?
Didn't we try and sign him back in the day? I don't even know.
I feel like we did in the Championship, yeah. And he banged in goals for Newcastle in the Championship too.
No, he says he's fit, maybe. Says he's fit. I think Harvey Barnes is fit. Anyway, that's their problem. Our problem now is thinking about.
He played.
Oh, there you go.
Played. That's why he wasn't on the bench. What an absolute clown.
Wait, did he play? I didn't. Yeah. I don't remember Harvey Barnes playing today. He played?
Yep. Apparently so. He played for 56 minutes of football today.
There is no. If you put a gun to my head and said, "Did Harvey Barnes play 56 minutes against your club today?" I would have said, I would have been shot.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Which I suppose tells me that while I find Purvis Estepinion's offensive output lately poor, his defensive output is freaking stellar. Because
I think he just got some good cover from Hinshelwood, honestly. Potentially that. But this is the wrong time to mention this because we're about to wrap up. But it was really interesting how Matoma went really central quite a lot of the time to try the shifting that Herzl has embedded into this squad where players have become a little bit more fluid and positioning is slightly less important. Again, going back to what you said, we're seeing the stuff at St. Pauli that made him impressive that we didn't see earlier on in the season. It's more fun stuff that's going on. Anyway, let's shut up.
It is. No, you're absolutely right, though. And it's worth pointing out, they're not massive changes, but they are a whole host of minute ones that are forming the whole, I guess is the way of putting it. Like,
yeah.
They're not all like, right, we're putting in my St. Pauli tactics, because they're not. Like, but you can see this. Yeah, you can see the similarities in the fluidity. You can see how Minte and Baleba are filling that role in like a different kind of way as the one that they played with that roaming centre half almost. Like, you can see it all. Like, you can see this transition really well. And I think the only thing you're not seeing is a set piece effectiveness. And I think the Premier League is just such a whole different animal, isn't it? I think that's probably going to be something we'll have to wait and see as time goes on.
We did score. We did score from something a couple of weeks back with Hinshaw, didn't we?
When it bounced off his face and went in.
The face one, yeah, that was
possibly the worst Premier League team in ever history.
They all count. That was drawn up on the training ground. They're like, put that on your face, mate. That'll do it.
All right.
They'll never expect it.
Yeah, we're definitely wrapping on that one. All right, we will be back next week. We'll talk Fulham, hopefully in the same good mood we're in today. And we will see you next time.
Cheers all.